Auburn defeated Vanderbilt in Nashville by the score of 31-15. This is now the time for our reaction live stream. We're going to talk about the stats, the plays, all the things that stuck out to us from this game. Let's get into it. And of course, your comments and questions starting right now. War Eagle Auburn family, War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, however you got here, whenever you got here, we appreciate you so much for joining us, being a part of our little family within the Auburn family. As is always the case, we encourage you to start off the stream with a couple of different things by smashing the like button if you enjoy this type of content, if you feel like we have earned that from you. That is a humongous help to start off. It's the simplest thing you can do. It's all free. Just smash the like button on Facebook, on YouTube, all that stuff. Of course, if you feel like we've earned it. And we'd love for you to check in with us. Post where you're watching from, your city, your state. Would love to hear from some people that were in Nash Vegas to watch the game, or either at the game or just in town. I'd love to hear from some of those folks. Let us know where you're checking in from, because we want to know who we're talking to, where they're from. If there's any Vanderbilt fans that want to come in for some post-game therapy for you guys, it's not therapy for us. We can obviously address you as well. Always post a War Eagle. So that's how we're getting the show started. What's at hand for us? Post-game reaction stream. Lots of energy, lots of hype. Auburn's on a 2-game winning streak. You didn't think we'd be that excited about a 2-game winning streak when you've been through the last 2.5 years of what Auburn has been through. You'll get excited about a 2-game winning streak, but here we are. 31-15, Auburn defeats Vanderbilt. Once again, I think I can hear the sounds of very similar choruses that happened last game. Why did we turn it off in the second half? All that stuff. Look, we can find any number of reasons to complain about things, and there is always room for improvement, especially where we're at as a program. But I just want to start off on the stream just acknowledging first the win, but also what this positions Auburn to do as a program, given where it has been over the last several years. Auburn, unless they just crap the bed against New Mexico State, is going to go to a bowl game this season, folks. And I know you may say, well, it's just the Birmingham Bowl. You may say, is it really worth it? Well, folks, this team needs all the practice it can get. This program needs all the time and energy it can put into putting a better product on the field. And what is one more game is yet another chance for some of this young talent to get some time. So I know we want to focus mainly about the game, but put things into perspective before we kind of hash out maybe even some of the negatives of the stream, yes, but of the overall results of this game. Definitely some things that I will point out that I was a little bit frustrated with at times. But yeah, so there you go. So I want to say hello to a bunch of fine folks that are already checking in. We got Brian from Passive Aggressive Minnesota, Thomas checking in from Leeds, from Wetumpka. We got John, and of course a lot of other people are starting to pile in here, checking in. Make sure you're sharing the stream out, all that kind of stuff to help us get started tonight. It's a huge help from all of you that can do that for us on this particular stream. We'll address some of your comments and things tonight as we go throughout it. If I will point out the first negative thing, drop passes. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Drop passes that could have really shifted this into a more traditional Vanderbilt beatdown. Still, a good enough win in an era where Auburn's trying to find its foundation. I think sometimes we have to learn to accept, accept's the right word, but deal with good enough. But you get the win over Vanderbilt, position you for some much bigger things by the end of the year. And isn't it interesting? We made it through this gauntlet that was really tough for Auburn, Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, and here we are kind of sitting in what we had anticipated, an opportunity for Auburn to regain its legs, show it can be a little bit more comfortable on the road. Neil is asking, did Auburn win? Neil, did you not watch the game? I hope you watched the game, because there were some good things here. There were not some things that needed to be improved upon, but obviously, if you look about the smile that's on my face, yes, we did win. It's Vanderbilt. And James Franklin is not their head coach anymore, so they stand very few chances of winning these days. 31-15 is not something that you normally write home about for a Vanderbilt win, but it is still a win nonetheless. Well, look, I guess an anniversary dinner date is more important than an Auburn football game, so I can't fault you for that, sir. So congratulations on the anniversary. Where are we going to start with this one? How do we want to break this one down? What's on you guys' minds? Obviously, we can walk through team stats, individual stats. We will do that at some point, but I kind of want to start unpacking this thing. How's everyone feeling? How's everyone processing all these things? Corey says sloppy offense, but we got 2 games to tighten it up. Well, I think sloppy offense is just going to be the story of this year. And sometimes sloppy means that you're better than that, right? Or usually that's what it means. Like sloppy means you're messing up what you're capable of. So maybe you recognize too, Corey, that this offense is capable of much more. Can we give Jarquez Hunter a hat off again? 2 hats off. Boy just set the tone in Nash Vegas early and often. I mean, just the dude said, hello, Nashville, here I am. Stop me if you can. Now, they did stop him a few times, only a few times. But he had more rushing yards in the first half, I felt, or the first quarter, than he had for a lot of the season at times. I know the numbers don't necessarily line up that way. But look, I mean, that was a great way to start off the game. It really set the tone. And I think probably made I know Peyton didn't have a solid game, or he had a good enough game, but probably made him feel a little bit more comfortable coming into Nashville and getting a win on the road. Win is a win, dadgummit, he says. Absolutely it is. Brian says the drops are negative, but so many positives. And I think that's the focus of today, right? When you walk away with a win, when you walk away with what it means for the rest of the season, for this program as a whole, you kind of look at this not necessarily as a celebration of a win over Vanderbilt. Sorry, Vanderbilt fans. It's just kind of where you are as a program right now and have been for a long time. But you look at it, what it means for the program going forward. So many positives in this game to look forward to. John says 18th game with a turnover, broke 30, could have been worse. 18th game with a turnover for us, or a turnover like we've gotten a turnover in all those games. Yeah, it came pretty close because let me look at the stats real quick. I want to make sure I have this correct here. We did get the interception, making sure I'm seeing all of this correct on here. Yes, turnovers 1-1. That's right. We did get the interception there, and it came pretty close to, for the second time I think it was this year that we didn't get an interception in a game. So Nehemiah Pritchett getting in on the action. DJ James has done it this year. Zion Puckett has done this year. I think pretty sure Kaufman and Keontae Scott have gotten in on the action, and we know Jalen Simpson was this close to getting another interception too. Very, very, very close. Hunter beat his career high this game. Well, since you're bringing it up, Corey, let's talk about Mr. Jarquez Hunter. 19 carries for 183 yards, that long of 67. The other one was pretty long too, for 2 touchdowns, 9.6 average on the day. What a game for Jarquez Hunter, and his best of his career. Now, look, we knew Jarquez is capable of this. We also know that this is the Vanderbilt defense. I still found some things that I was unhappy with the offensive line in this game, but you got to get credit where credit is due. They gave him, especially on those 2 big runs, just beautiful, wide open lanes to run through. And then Jarquez with a little bit of room, a little bit of wiggle ability, he's able to find a seam to get upfield and turn on the Jets, and you see what happens. You can't catch him. He is just as shifty as he is fast, just as fast as he is strong. He's just a very overall complete back. He does a lot of things well, and you saw that showcase tonight. So Jarquez Hunter finally getting into the rhythm. Rowe points out too many unnecessary penalties. You expect that a little bit on the road. Still not something to be excited about. Yeah, I think penalties, drops, in my opinion, an ability to sustain a solid run game the entire game were the 3 biggest things that I kind of walk away from going, we could have done better. Let's see here. Too many drop passes, you pointed out as well. Yep. The multiple holding calls in that illegal block by Micah Riley are really rough. Fundamentals are huge. And look who, especially on that last one, committed it. Micah Riley. Now, Micah Riley's been here for a while, 2 seasons now. So you'd expect him to be a little bit more polished and stuff, but he's still young. And so why is this important for Auburn to get in the bowl game? For players like Micah Riley to get more time, opportunities to play, to clean things up, to become more sound in those fundamentals. So, the holding calls are by some of the offensive linemen that shouldn't be doing it. But, it is what it is at this point. Corey says the O-line was looking okay. It still needs improvement. The offensive line is capable of much more than they're showing on a consistent basis. And that, for me, is the biggest gripe this season for them, is consistency throughout the entirety of a game. Now, listen, defenses make adjustments. It's not that simple of a science to put together a complete sound offensive line performance. But you got to give them credit for what they did well, creating opportunities for Jarquez to do what he does. But you also got to speak out about the things that they have to do more consistently. The penalties, creating more opportunities up the middle throughout the game, and not just on a few big gashing plays. Brian says, what is harder to watch, a football game in the construction site Vandy calls a football stadium, or a community gym Vandy uses to host basketball games? What a tough call. Brian, you've been here long enough to hear me just lambast that monstrosity of a basketball arena. That it's not even a basketball arena for Vanderbilt. I would 10 times over watch it in their football stadium completely under construction than that basketball arena. It makes me viscerally ill to look at that. I don't know that I'll ever be able to go visit and watch a game there, just to watch your players on the side. Anyway, this is not the basketball stream. There's gonna be plenty of those of the coming weeks, so settle in, folks. And yes, folks, I know I did miss the scrimmage, but a lot of things going on here at the Loomis household, so we'll have to hold on to that as much as we can. Fairweather had a lot of penalties, yes, Carter, but he also had a few drops that I wasn't expecting him to make. I mean, you really have to ask the question, if the wide receivers today make some pretty easy catches, are we talking about an Auburn 45-15 win? And that looks a lot more comfortable. You look at 31-15, just someone check it in. Everybody's kind of like, oh, wow, okay, that's interesting. But you're not watching how the game flowed. That 15, that last touchdown came in a little later in the second half. It's a little bit deceiving how close it actually was, but you would hope that you'd create a little bit more space than that. Deep to find a way to bring in that arena just to see me get all riled up about it. Yeah. We'll have plenty of opportunities to talk about that monstrosity in basketball season. Super excited about that too. All right, keep your comments and questions coming about this game. Again, we'll talk through some of the stats here, things that may pique your interest tonight. 31-15. I do hate that I wasn't able to do our post game or preview stream this week. Apologies for that. But I probably, if I was going to pick a score for this game, I would have put it somewhere in the 17-point range for Vanderbilt and probably the 40-point range for Auburn is probably where I would have found myself being. As unsure as I have been about this team on the road, it's Vanderbilt. I'm sorry, Commodores fans. You are who you are, and James Franklin's not here anymore. And Clark Lee may get this thing going. They surprise teams every once in a while in a game and make things interesting at certain points of the game. But just when you give up 14 straight points to start off the game, not a good way for the Vanderbilt Commodore faithful to start. And they had an opportunity to score first too, but missed that field goal. So let's look at individual stats. 17 of 27 tonight for Peyton Thorne, touchdown and interception, and a completion rate of 63%. Let's talk about that interception. I think it was discussed a lot by the commentary people, and I think you can make a case that the sun was in his eyes, but you still got to know not to throw that. If you're unsure of that, on the same token, on the same side of the discussion there, I guess an opposite side of the discussion there, can't blame the guy at some point for feeling like he's under duress and just trying to make something happen. you shouldn't make it happen down that close to the stadium, or to the stadium, to the construction zone. That is an end zone, apparently. So Peyton Thorne, 17 for 27. We talked about Jarquez. Peyton is your second leading rusher, 12 for 40. Still showing that he is very formidable with his leg. Damari got a few runs today. Didn't really do a whole lot. Brian Battie got in there, didn't do a whole lot. Jeremiah Cobb got a run, but he was more so utilized on that. I forget what type of play it was, but he ended up getting that touchdown. Where is it? Is it even listed here? There he goes. The 5-yard pass touchdown to get into the end zone for him. So Fairweather gets a touchdown on passing. Cobb gets a touchdown. We get a field goal, and then obviously Jarquez with his 2 runs are your scoring plays on the evening. Gregorio, good to see you. Thanks for checking in with us. Let's see here. Also, WT, good to see you. Brian says, being picky, was it risky to have Hunter in on that last possession? I did find it interesting that not interesting is not the right word. I just, I'd love to be in a huddle in some of these meetings to understand some decisions that are made, because they're different from what I would have made. Peyton Thorne is running, the last couple of plays there, the last couple of series there. I might have given Robbie the reins to kind of especially do what he does best, give people fits running around with the ball. And there's also a side of the conversation where you could say you're still wanting Peyton Thorne to continue to get comfortable in all areas, in all aspects, in all moments in time of the game. Can make a case either way. So in terms of Jarquez, sure, maybe he hasn't been 100% healthy all season, but at the same side, I don't know. To me, this is one of those seasons you're not necessarily worried about those type of things. If that makes sense. I'm trying to put myself in the coach's shoes, is I guess what I'm saying. Thomas says, I still stand by my statement earlier this year, 7 wins, and I'm happy. 8 wins exceeds expectations. I think that's fair. I also think it's fair for someone to say, 9 wins was my expectation. It's not going to happen at this point outside of a bowl win, which is highly possible. But, Auburn's got an opportunity to finish really, really strong here with Arkansas, New Mexico State, Alabama. Folks, we have 3 games left. Think about it. Just make you really sad tonight. 3 games. 4 games of the bowl game if we get the win we need. But just think about that. We lost 2 touchdowns due to penalties. Hunter would have broke 200 yards. Still broke his career best, so that's great for him. Gregorio also says, wasn't the prettiest win, but a win is a win. Just need to work on everything this week and get ready for Arky. Arkansas is going to be a tough game. I really hope y'all are ready for that one. It's going to be tough. When we talked about Auburn putting on a complete game, Peyton Thorne putting together a complete game on the road, really wanting to see that, it's still Vanderbilt. Arkansas is going to be the true test of have things improved in that arena. It was great that we went to Vandy on the road this time and are getting that, kind of cutting our teeth, getting used to winning on the road. Peyton's getting used to winning on the road. Next week is the big one. It's the big daddy. Well, not the big daddy, but in terms of proving that you're better than we originally thought on the road. Kevlar, what bothers me is the way we let teams take over the fourth quarter on us. I understand the frustration there. I do. I wish we'd kind of just put that away. But I'll also this comment, and be careful these days because, head coaches are feeling pretty saucy and they might, come at you directly. I would also ask you to put yourself in the shoes of the coaches and understand that what you're seeing doesn't necessarily line up with what they're seeing. And they're making these decisions, the best of information they have on the field at the time and then their preparation. So if they felt the need was to do certain things that maybe didn't work out, they obviously had a reason for that at the time. It does make it frustrating for us as fans, for us to see a lead on a Vanderbilt and just kind of tinker away with that. But sometimes you're trying to just, this type of season, get to the end of it. Ant's Den. I'm hoping we can keep building on the wins. Just stack them on what they call it, stack on stack on stack on stack. 2 in a row. If you can surprise a lot of, I think it was said on the broadcast that Auburn should be favored against Arkansas, but I don't necessarily agree with that. But if Auburn can go into Arkansas and get a good win there, tough win there on the road, and then walk into New Mexico State, you're looking at 7 wins on the year with the Iron Bowl. And an Alabama team, depending on how they do tonight, I mean, everybody's starting to kind of sing their praises again. You just never know, man. You just never know. Clell from AU Tiger Blogging, really good win. Was never behind. First road SEC win. So 2 SEC wins now for Coach Hugh Freeze, a road and a home. Good pointing out there. If we hit 9 wins, I'm throwing a barbecue fest. I agree. A lot of people starting to check in. Please make sure y'all are smashing the like button as you come in. Fishing Gaming says we left 21 points in the field, 2 touchdowns to receivers and 1 touchdown to holding. Should have been 52 points, honestly. It could have been. I said this a little earlier before you got here, Fishing Gaming. I wasn't able to do the preview stream this week, but I would have probably put us in the low 40s category. I could have seen that happening. So a little bit maybe underperforming from what I personally would have thought we would have done. First SEC win in over a year. There you go. SEC road win, I'm sorry. So, all right, keep them coming. Comments, questions. A couple more stats here tonight. Let's talk about receivers. Yes, we have pointed out the drops. Very, 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 very frustrating. I mean, you look at Javaris Johnson was targeted 5 times, only caught 3. Camden dropped or missed 1. And some of these will be, bad throws or good defenders. Just keep that in mind. Fairweather missed 2. I'm pretty sure both of those were bad drops on his part. So a lot of opportunities left out there, but you get the ball to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I could just look right here. It says 9 receivers. Omari Kelly. How do you drop that, my friend? I mean, the throw was not great. It wasn't. Like, it was a little wobbly, but it hit you in the hands, in stride, gap between you and the defender. You don't drop those balls. But Omari is still, on the younger side, and so he's got time to get better at that. It says to me 9 players. Yeah, that looks about right, I guess. 9 players caught a ball tonight. So Javaris Johnson, Camden Brown, Jay Fairweather, Jarquez Hunter, Caleb Burton, Brandon Frazier back in the mix again, Jeremiah Cobb, and then Malcolm Johnson Jr. also in the mix there. Your leading receiver, Javaris Johnson. It was good to see him have a solid game, as much as he's been hurt. It was really good to see him as a long mainstay here have such a solid and reliable game. Very nice, very nice. Devin's here. Good to see you. Missed opportunities, okay, but we got it done. Well said, well said. Let's see here. Making sure we haven't missed a few things here. Thank you, guys. Stan Burgess is having trouble with the Watt Eagle, the War Eagle. We don't know how to react to wins. We're so tired that it just exhausts us when we win at this point. That will change soon enough, my friends. I have faith in that. So there's your receiver statistics. Let's look at defense statistics, and then we'll talk about team statistics. Defenders, your leading tackler tonight, DJ James, with 7 total tackles. Tackle for loss. 2 pass breakups. What a game for him. Jalen Simpson with 6. 2 of those were solo, a pass breakup as well. Eugene Asante is your best non-defensive back defender tonight with 5. 4 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Zykevius Walker had a good day, 5 as well for him. Marcus Harris with 4. So look at that right there. Look at the spread of your top 5 defenders. The top 2 are defensive backs. 1 is a linebacker and 2 are defensive linemen. What more could you ask for? And a bunch of those are your leaders there. Marcus Harris, Eugene Asante, Jalen Simpson, and DJ, of course. But those are the guys that got to make plays for you to be successful. And they did that. Showed up on the stat sheet tonight. And trying to see if it gives us a number for total. 53 total tackles, and maybe it doesn't tell us the number of individuals that got tackles on that. What else? Austin Keys with a forced fumble. Interception went to Nehemiah Pritchett. We talked about that already. Good to see him getting in the mix there. I think Nehemiah gets forgotten about a lot as part of the mainstay of this. And remember this, Nehemiah Pritchett was kind of the anchor of the defensive back group, and then DJ came along and kind of rose the occasion. Jalen really started asserting himself as a safety this year, and he's done a great job before, but really this year is with interceptions. Donovan and Keontae Scott, Kay and Lee have really asserted themselves. He gets lost in the shuffle of what is a really good defensive back group. Corey, the back pass to the running backs drive me insane. It hasn't worked. So why are you doing it? So a lot of the times, and I'm not in the meetings. That's a funny phrase for beat writers. I'm not in the meetings. So, I can't speak that I know this for 100% fact, but a lot of the times the plays you run are setting up something down the line. You got to, and sometimes they're stretching the defense out, making them run back and forth, just getting them looking a certain way so you can maybe catch them off guard another time. So if you don't understand, if there's something that you see out there that's frustrating that keeps happening, there's a reason it's being still utilized. We may not understand it. It may frustrate us, but there's a reason it's happening. WT, the punt return looks so nice till it's called back. That was a kick return, right? Wasn't that a kick return? It was a punt return. Yes. So we came so close, and he was tackled before on the play too, but he so close to breaking it loose. I've been waiting, hoping, just wishing for a punt return, a kick return all this season for a touchdown, and we came so close, and still, even if it was one, we got it called back. Besides a couple of the throws, we really contained Shepard to nothing. Defense played great. Let's look at Shepard's stats, and that credit goes to our defense, because Seals is 16 for 29 on the night for 160 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Shepard tonight is their leading receiver with 4 for 43 yards and a long of 28, no touchdowns. So talk about finding their guy and shutting them down. It's a great showing right there. Great showing. I hate that Simpson missed that interception too. But again, even in games where he's not getting an interception, look how close he comes to one, or he also sets up somebody else for one. That happened, I think it was the Ole Miss game. He tips the ball or makes a hit on a guy that set up the interception, I think, for Zion Puckett. Maybe it was somebody else. But he's wrecking havoc back there, making a cornerback turned safety look like a really solid decision there. 18 straight games with a forced turnover on defense. Very good. And this is coming from a time period where we were struggling to get any turnovers too. Remember that too, dating back into the previous staff as well. All right. Comments and questions, keep them coming here. We are about 28 minutes in the stream. We'll stay on a little bit longer. We usually do about half an hour on these, but we got some more maybe to talk about here. Let's talk about team stats. 424 for Auburn, 266 for Vanderbilt. A bunch of those came in the last couple of drives there. So really in garbage time, probably they gained about 50 or so. So they really held them around 200 yards. That's what you got to do. You hold the home team to around 200 yards, 250 yards. You're going to have a good day if you at least get the job done offensively. Passing yards, 194 on the day. We broke 100 yards. What a victory. 230 on the rush, 5 penalties for 60 yards. We were 4 for 15 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down. What else sticks out here? 2 for 2 in the red zone. We did not win the time of possession. Vanderbilt had a lot, but really didn't need to because we scored quickly a lot of the time. Even Stevens on turnovers. They almost lost 3 fumbles. Some were caused by us. Some were their own slips. If Auburn got that, was it the punt return, got that fumble that they all basically fell over the top of, that would have been a momentum shift even further in the favor of Auburn. Sacks tonight. Let's give some credit where credit is due. 5 sacks of the night, 37 lost yards. Solid. This was a I wouldn't say put together game because there were some things that really need to be cleaned up. But whoever said it earlier, the positives vastly outweigh the negatives. Again, it's Vanderbilt. I get it. But you got to take the wins where you can get them sometimes. I wonder if anyone has counted all the chunk plays we've had this year that have been negated by a penalty. Very frustrating. Well, it's the sign of a team that's been cobbled together, I should say, trying to make something happen, something magical happen in year one under Hugh Freeze. Thomas, I am also looking forward. Persons, all the stuff I've got going on behind the scenes, permitting that for me to be able to go back to New Mexico State. I always plan to be there for New Mexico State for the Alabama game, but life's crazy sometimes. So I'm looking forward to some fall weather on the campus of Auburn University. Some real fall weather. Jeffrey, good to see you. All right. So what haven't we covered? What haven't we talked about? 30-minute stream so far. What stuck out to you? Positive, negative? Is there a player that you've said, Kyle, you haven't talked about this individual yet? Why haven't you? Good or bad? Is there somebody on Vanderbilt? Oh, let me mention this. Elijah McAllister. Can we please give the man a shout out? Played solidly tonight. Got a few good, strong licks on his former teammates. He is the transfer from Vanderbilt, and I'm sure he is very, very happy with his decision. Sure, he'd like to have a few more wins at Auburn, but he's winning more than he was at Vanderbilt. So Elijah, obviously a good homecoming of sorts for him. He probably feels pretty solid about his decision to do so. WT points out Asante. Yeah, look, at this point, it's like a given that Asante is a beast. So it's almost like you're a victim of your own success. Now he has to do something even bigger for us to for him to catch our attention at this point, because he's just been that good all season. His emergence has just been, he's an energy guy. He's a production guy. It's basically everything that you could ask for. But did want to make sure that we shouted out Elijah McAllister returning back here. What bowl game do I think we'll go to? Birmingham or Nashville is probably the best opportunities we have at this point, but you never know. Here's the thing, and I won't spend a lot of time on this because it's not about the game, but I always say this: Auburn travels well, and that does well for TV. That does well for making money on the bowl game. So a lot of times these decisions are made based on what the matchup and the fan response will be. So Auburn does a good service to itself. Thomas wants to shout out Connor Liu, doing very well for a true freshman. Remember how excited Hugh Freeze was about this guy? And he said, look, he's not going to start right now, but he's going to be a starter for us in the future. And look, lo and behold, Avery, I think, has been a little bit dinged up, and he's getting his opportunity. And maybe he will be taking over center very soon. So sometimes it's all a matter of timing, right? You may not be traditionally ready to take a starting position, but if the opportunity arises, you got to seize it. And he's seizing it right now. Strange that we have only one more win versus loss to Vanderbilt. You're talking about this season? They're 2-7. We're 5-4. I don't understand what you're saying. Maybe I'm missing. Maybe it's going right over here. But if you look at the hairline that continues to recede, should not shock you at this point. So, all right, keep them coming. Comments, questions, we'll address them here. A couple of things for you guys. I don't have any cue cards ready for you all, but what to keep in mind for this week here at E2C Network. Plan is tomorrow night to do the Auburn experience. In fact, I think it's already up if you guys want to go ahead and like the stream preview page and all that stuff for the Auburn Experience podcast, 9 Eastern time tomorrow with Austin and myself. We are going to plan. Here's when I say tentative, this is the strongest sense of tentative that I can tell you all, especially for this week for me. We will plan tentatively to do a Wednesday night live stream at 8 Eastern time, the Auburn Family Call-In Show. We will plan tentatively to do a preview stream for Arkansas Thursday at 8 p.m. And I hope to get some more content out for you, but it's been a very busy time here at E2C Network Central. And I know I've been saying that. It feels like all season. It's the truth. We'll talk more about it later, but continue just to thank you for your patience about getting you more regular content. We're doing the best we can at this point. Good question, Brian, about basketball post-game stream. Plan would be to always do one of those. I haven't honestly had the time to look at the schedule and plan those out exactly yet, but I want to at least tell you what my plan would be for the football stuff, and we'll see what we can fit in for. I will tell you the Tuesday post game stream will be kind of iffy. I will try my best to do one because I'd like to, because basketball is my sport, and if y'all been here long enough, you know how much I love talking about basketball. So it would pain me to have to miss one, but there's some logistics that I've got to work through that maybe I'd be on the road essentially, but never say never. So what I hope for is that during this very busy season of life that will hopefully settle out here in the coming weeks, we will be on very, very solid schedules for the time being, because I need that. The all-time record was tied previous today. Gotcha. Now I understand. People forget that Vanderbilt used to be pretty dang good. They were legit. Boy, how times have changed, right? Ooh, an in-person report from the game. Yeah, if we can make the stream happen, we might, but it'll depend on where I might broadcast from and all that kind of stuff. And that's the unfortunate thing about that, because I would actually love that, you going to South Dakota for that game, but crazy times right now. All right, what else haven't we talked about? What haven't we hit? See, a lot of you maybe popping in a little bit late, hitting some of the things that we've talked about. Don't want to rehash that several times, but if there is certainly something that we haven't mentioned in this game, certainly someone we haven't talked about, please get them in now. A stat that you'd like to point out. Most of you have been talking about the Vandy series. Remember, Vandy was a very good team at one point back in the day when Swanee used to be an SEC team, and they were pretty dang good too. But look, these are the days where you are very thankful for a win over Vanderbilt, not simply because you're that bad of a program, but over the last 2.5 seasons, it's not been pretty solid of a foundation. So a 31-15 win, was it pretty? No. Were there plenty of things that could have been done wildly better? Yes. But you walk away with a win. You get what you have to set yourself up for a very likely bowl eligibility case with 3 games left, 2 of them being pretty tough though, likely. And one of those you can get at home, and likely but yeah, it's going to be a good end to see it, folks. Not saying we're going to beat Arkansas, not saying we're going to beat Alabama, but I am thankful that we're getting out of what was a gauntlet and finally getting some wins stacked together. WT says, I think Freeze has his head in the right direction. This is turning out to be a really good first year. I think some people would disagree with you, WT, on the really good first year. And I don't disagree, because I was predicting 8-4. And I even said, I think I could really see a 7-5 being a possibility, which looks pretty likely. But in a year with the context of what this team and program have been through, you really do have to find a way to be happy with that. You really do. We were the only SEC team Vandy didn't have a losing record to until today. Next season, we extend our streak, and it is at home. So good point, Kevlar. Good point. So, all right, folks. Brian said it best. War Eagle E2C family. War Eagle to you, our E2C family. The best little family within the Auburn family. We're going to call it a stream right there. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, spending some time being a part of the best little family within the Auburn family. Until I get to talk to you again. War Eagle.